Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I am a journaler, a journal maker and teacher of journaling courses, and I've got another Junk Journal with Me episode in my faith journal. The passage I'm looking at today is Genesis 11 verse 6. The people are united and they all speak the same language. Nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them. And then later on it says, come, let's go down and confuse the people with different languages, then they won't be able to understand each other. Now, this passage was really speaking to me about language, so I go ahead and decorate my page with computer keys. No, not computer, typewriter keys, I guess it's the same. And that just represents language and communication and words. And there's quite a lot in this passage that I get a lot out of. So we'll see if I can collect my thoughts and let this all be coherent. So first of all, one idea is how when we are united, when we are on the same page, speaking the same language, and we understand each other, we can do amazing things, you know. God puts it in the Bible, nothing they do will be impossible. Nothing they set out to do will be impossible. Like, that's huge, right? But when there's conflict, when there's disagreement, or not disagreement, sorry, when there's a lack of understanding, then we have, you know, the system kind of breaks down and things can fall apart. So it's so key that in our lives, how this can speak to me like now, today, and can be relevant to, you know, my life now, is try to understand people, try to speak people's language. And this, I'm not meaning necessarily learning the different dialects and languages of the world, but try to see things from other people's eyes, essentially. Try to understand them. Try to speak their language in terms of meet them where they're at. Try to see things with their perspective, you know. And that's something that I hope to do, you know, throughout my life, to seek to understand people. And I love how this is one way we can do that, is to try to speak someone else's language and not expect them to have to speak our language, or not expect them to see things the way we see things, but we can make that effort to try to see things how they see things, understand them, and speak their language. Meet them where they're at. I love how in the Bible, God is the one who constantly is meeting us where we're at. He brings himself down to our level and meets us where we're at. And we can meet other people where they're at. We might be very different. We might have very different backgrounds, different ages, different values, different, you know, perspectives, but we don't have to expect them to meet us where we're at. We can go to them and meet them where they're at with anything, you know. Your friend might love computers, you hate computers, and when you're trying to engage with them and connect with them, it's good, you know, one way we can do that is to speak their language. So, you know, that's, you can see it in real life. Like when you bond with people, it's often because you share something in common, or you can speak about something that they love, and you make that effort to go, well, I don't like computers, but I know you do, so I'm going to learn a bit about computers so that I can talk about it with you. And this is a way that I can show that I care about you. This is a way that I can show that I'm engaged and I want to engage with you. And they'll appreciate that. And, you know, it's just like one random example. I love this other idea. Here's another little insight of how God gives us language. Language is a gift. I think I said in the previous video how anything that God gives us is a gift that can be used to connect with him, and that can line up with his, you know, plan for his people of loving each other, loving God, glorifying God. And so when he gives us different languages, that can be a good thing, you know. And you might not be able to speak to everyone, but that's okay, because there's other people who can speak to that person, if that makes any sense. But then there's the responsibility that whatever languages you can speak them well. And again, I'm speaking more metaphorically here. If you can speak the language of computers, then help people with their computers, for example. Again, another random example. If you speak the language of creativity, share your language of creativity, speak your language of creativity, bring creativity to the world, to enhance the world, to make people's lives better. If you speak the language of science, use science and teach science as a way of showing people the wonder of God, maybe, or, you know, just helping them with something in their lives. If you speak the language of, I don't know, okay, I'll go back to this original example. When I was doing a mission trip, we were working with all ranges of people: children, teenagers, adults, parents, grandparents. And, you know, I was just like a 20-year-old person. I hadn't had much experience talking to strangers. I was really out of my comfort zone. But one of the leaders was just saying how God equips us, and he equips us with new languages, and languages that maybe we never knew how to speak them before. So when you're speaking with kids, you can speak kid. When you're speaking with parents, you can speak parent. When you're speaking with grandparents, you can speak grandparent. When you're speaking with teenagers, you can speak teenager, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure if this makes any sense. But in a way, like, he can equip us to be able to speak to people and engage with them so that we can understand each other. I hope that makes sense. Another example, for example, before I struggled with depression and anxiety, I wasn't able to connect with people who had mental health issues because I didn't understand. I was probably completely rude and insensitive and said horrible things because I didn't understand it. I would have said things like, get over it, or just choose your thoughts, just be happy. It was only when I went through depression and anxiety that I learned, a whole different language. I learned, actually, no, these people are doing everything they can. These people are just staying afloat. These people don't need people to say, just be happy, just change your thoughts, just get over it. That's the worst thing to say to these people. That's not the language to speak. And when I went through that, I was given a new language where I could go, a language of compassion, a language of understanding, a language of empathy, which I did not have before going through that experience. So I hope that's another example to show you how we've all been given different languages. If you haven't gone through a mental health journey before or experienced it with someone else, you might not have that language, and that's okay. But if you have got that language, that's a tool that you can use to connect with people who are struggling, who are suffering, for letting those people know, hey, you're not alone, I've been there too. You're speaking their language. You're helping them, make them feel understood. You're connecting with them when maybe they've never felt connection with anyone before because no one understands them. And anyway, all of these examples just to show how important it is for us to try to understand each other. And one way we can do that is through looking at our relationship with language. What language are we speaking? And not just to, just stay within our own language, but to try to speak other people's languages. And, to try to understand people's other perspectives is another way of putting that. And to know that God will equip us with languages too. He's a good God. He gives us gifts, and he gives us the gift of languages. And so maybe think about, if you want a reflection journal prompt, what languages has God given you? Maybe you are really wonderful at speaking to kids. Maybe you're really wonderful at speaking to parents. Maybe you're really wonderful at speaking to creative people, or scientific people. I don't know. Maybe you're really wonderful at speaking to women in particular, or young girls or something, and raising the next generation, or being there for people who are struggling. Maybe you can speak to those who are struggling. I don't know, but maybe you've never recognized that this is a gift in your life, that you have an ability to speak a language that helps make people out there feel heard, understood, valued, loved. So we can use that. We can use whatever it is, whatever language that we've been given. I just love this idea. Another idea that I get from this passage is that at the end of the day, yes, we do speak different languages, and that can be a barrier. Can create conflict. when there's a lack of understanding, there can definitely be conflict. But what it comes down to for me is love, and that understanding each other is not a prerequisite for love. Love comes first. It's okay if we never ever see eye to eye. Sometimes we just will never agree with someone, or we'll never be able to see things the way they do. But hey, that doesn't mean that we need to have any conflict with them. We can still love them, we can still value them, we can still uphold them. We can just simply agree to disagree and leave it at that. So even when there is disagreement and we can't see eye to eye, we just aren't speaking the same language and we're just not understanding each other, still love each other, still love each other. I mean, the aim is, of course, to be able to understand each other, because I believe that the more we understand each other, the more we can value each other and have love for each other. But even if we don't understand each other, that's not an excuse. That's never an excuse to treat people badly. Disagreements, that's not an excuse to treat people badly. We can always still love each other. So yeah, I hope that was encouraging. There's a lot in there. I mean, that was quite deep. But I like just sharing little insights that I pick up here and there from different places and from different people over the course of my life. And because I believe when we share these things that we learn and that impact us, that maybe someone out there, they haven't heard it before like this, and it makes them go, wow, and oh yeah, and I love that feeling. And if I can give that feeling to someone else, that's awesome. It's like one of my favorite feelings in the world is when someone can show me something new and give me a different perspective. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And then once you get that new perspective, you can apply it in your life. So how can I speak the languages that I've been given and use them as a tool to help people? And how can I learn to speak other people's languages and help make people feel loved, valued, heard, and understood, seen, all of that. And yeah, we can, another thing, we can be united even where there's disagreement too. We never have to agree for us to be united in loving each other and treating people well. Yeah, that's another thing, because I know there are some thoughts out there that we need total agreement for there to be unity, but I definitely don't agree with that. I believe that there can be disagreements, different perspectives, different values, but we can still be united. A big special thank you to all my patrons in December who supported me and Willowbound Journals with the vision to bring light and love to the world through storytelling, journaling, and creativity and inspiration. You guys, without you, I could not do what I do full time, so thank you so much. You allow me to do videos and make journals and teach journaling courses, so know that you are having a huge impact on not only my life, but all the people who watch the videos, get one of my journals, or do one of my courses. If you would like to become a patron in January, the link will be down below in the description box. That gives you access to extra videos, printables, behind the scenes looks, personal updates, first access to my journals, and you'll be just supporting me, and I just can't thank you enough for that, helping my dream come true. May you journal your life because your stories matter.